All right, g'day everyone. Liam here from Metal Ruse, here chatting with Dave from Flaming Wrekage. How you going, man?
Hey dude, going well. Thanks for having us.
Well, first of all, congratulations on the album Terra Inferna. It's been out since April now. How are the people responding to it so far?
Yeah, thanks, man. It's been really good. Really positive response. I managed to get out there and do some sick Aussie shows to back it up. So, yeah, I think it's kind of our most complete album. Like we put a lot of time into writing this one, so it's nice that it's connecting with people. Yeah, super stoked, man, and it's really fun to play live too. So it's ticking all the boxes.
Now, of course, the big subject, Flaming Wrekage, this month are embarking on a tour of Europe. This tour looks amazing. You guys are playing shows in Austria, Germany, Poland, Belgium, Netherlands. What are your anticipations?
Yeah, dude, super stoked to be coming over again. It's been a lot of work to get it over the line, as you know. Like, for sort of an independent band, or like a band on a smaller label, it's like you're kind of at the bottom of the pile with, in terms of like, just the huge scene that there is in Europe. But it's our sound, it's the scene that we really want to crack into. So we've been there before, 2018, which was really cool. And yeah, looking forward to playing a few of the same places again and plenty of new ones too. So yeah, it's looking really solid. But yeah, just in the last like couple of weeks, it's really starting to come together. We're working with Francie from Dagger Bookings, and she's been great.
Oh,
Very
how good is she?
Yeah, she's awesome, man. Like, that doesn't miss a trick. So I think it's gonna run real smooth. And yeah, looking forward to going to some places we haven't been before. So yeah, it's gonna be killer. I can't wait.
And for the last 10 years, it's really been great to see so many Aussie bands touring Europe. I mean, there's you guys. Nothing Sacred were here recently in August. We've had Pizza Death, Hidden Intent and Harlot were here last year. But one thing that I often ask Australian bands is about the challenges they face breaking through to the overseas audiences.
Like I just said, like you just got to like make it a priority and just try and keep hitting it. Like you're kind of stepping into such a thing that is like way bigger than you can kind of comprehend. Like, as you would know, like the scene in Australia is like relative to the population size, I guess. So when you go to Europe and like metal is like really like ingrained into the culture, which is not really a thing in Australia, I don't think. It's like there's much more like infrastructure set up for like touring bands in Europe. So that's like a totally different thing. So it's just kind of like overcoming that like small fish in a massive pond. But that's the challenge. And, like if you back yourself and you know that like your sound stands up to those bigger bands, then it's definitely worth pushing. And, it's expensive. It's a bit brutal, and it's never been more expensive than it is now. But like I said, man, if you have faith in your product, and like especially on this last album, I feel like we really drew on a lot of sort of Euro influences more than we have previously. So I just have a feeling that like, playing these songs live is going to go down real well. You're just up against a massive population, man. So many bands, and like, you just have a look at like this, like the time of year that we're touring. It's like there's so many gigs on, even in winter, and because in Europe it's such a massive festival scene. It's like the club, like season, I guess, is kind of in winter. So like, the competition is crazy, but it's a challenge you're up for. So. Yeah, bring it on.
Well, let's talk about the album Terra Inferna. First album since 2021's Cathedral of Bones. What was the approach to the songwriting this time?
I think this one was a little bit more collaborative. Like in previous times, sort of it was like we kind of bring in riffs and then build the song out from there. But there were songs on this one that kind of came from other places, like more like sort of interesting rhythmic patterns and stuff that then led to riffs rather than the other way around. And it was very much like all four of us were like 100% in on the writing process pretty much the whole time. And we just did a lot of pre-pro, worked with Chris from Orpheus again, amazing producer. Chris, yeah. That's like the third album we've done with him, so he kind of like is pretty locked in with our sound now. So like his input is like super valuable. I think this album's got a little bit more space on it. Like the previous record was like pretty straight up, like I wouldn't say one pace, but it was like quite heavy and thrashy all the way through. There wasn't too much like deviation in terms of tempo and stuff, or just like sort of like room for other stuff. On this one, there's like some more open sections where we had the opportunity to like just fuck around with some different things. Like acoustic guitars or like synth stuff we haven't really done before, especially like that European flavor of like melodic death metal. It's like synth is the king, and like once we put it on like underneath a few of those bigger choruses, I'm like, oh, that's like the secret sauce. Yeah, it was a super fun recording process.
I did notice the diversity of instrumentation, that's for sure. Yeah, well done there. What are some of your personal favorite songs to play live at the moment? Like you said, you've already been taking this album on the road. And also when a band is so many albums deep, I mean, you've got so many songs to play live. You've got to kill some of those darlings that you've got. So how's that been?
Yeah. Oh man, it's like, I think the biggest challenge of doing a new album is like learning how to play it live, because we just have this habit of just putting way too many guitars on every track. So trying to whittle that down to 2 is kind of challenging. But yeah, like Hell on Earth, I think is probably my favorite at the moment. Like we're going like we're doing this like kind of long like jam at the end, which just goes until we feel like stopping. So it's like we kind of like took, like the live approach to the studio approach is kind of different. Like we didn't want it to sound exactly like the album kind of thing. Witch Hunt's another good one. We've just been like opening that straight out of the gates, pretty like just comes in super hot. So yeah, there's still a couple we haven't played on that record yet, just because it's super hard to be honest. But we're hoping to bring a few we haven't done before into this Euro set. So yeah, man, it's been challenging to play them all live, but it's been super fun as well. Like really breathes life into the band, to like play some new shit live. Yeah, it's been good.
How is the state of the Sydney live music scene at the moment? I mean, we've had so many Australian venues shut their doors over the last few years. It's actually been really, really devastating to see from afar.
Yeah, I will say, I think we've got some of the best bands that we've had in a long time at the moment. And it's like across the full spectrum of the genre. Like, we quite regularly do mixed bills these days with like sort of stoner bands and like some sort of younger thrash bands, death metal. Like all bases are pretty well covered. There's just unfortunately a lack of like sort of 200 to 300 cap rooms that are accessible. Like there's a good amount of like real small places that you can kind of cut your teeth at if you're a younger band, but you don't want to be like overplaying them for someone like us, I guess. But it's just like so tough to run a pub, a venue, any business really. Like the costs are just through the roof. And because of that kind of feeds into people not having the confidence to buy tickets to things straight away unless it's a massive show. So, it all filters down, man. And unfortunately those kind of like venues, if it's usually the sign of a pretty healthy scene if you've got a good handful of 200, 300 cap rooms that are cranking all the time, midweek or whatever. So without them, it does struggle a little bit. But like we've toured Australia heaps, and like you do notice like even before COVID and stuff, it's like places go up and down. Like sometimes Brisbane will just be amazing for 2 years, and then it won't be as good for a little while. Yeah, I think we can get through it. It's just tough at the moment.
Side note, I'm originally from Brisbane, and we had the Zoo. One of the longest running venues from Brisbane, let alone in Australia, closing down up to 32 years of activity. Like,
there's been a lot. Well, Crowbar just bought that actually, which is really cool. So that'll be kind of revamped. Like, because that room was way too good to lose. So it's good that they bought that. But I was looking back at some like kind of older flyers like not that long ago, and I'm like, yeah, that place is done. Not open. But yeah, man. Like I said, quality of bands is good, so there's definitely hope.
Well, this is going to be your second tour of Europe, third overseas tour overall, including Southeast Asia. Is that correct?
Yeah, and we went to New Zealand last year as well, which was really cool.
What did you do on your last European tour, and how did the audiences receive Flaming Wrekage that time? We
played with this band called E-Force, which is like one of the dudes from the kind of like 90s era Voivod, I believe. Yeah, it was cool. It was like I said earlier, what struck me immediately was just like how competitive everything is. And yeah, it was like a character building experience, I'd say. But like also, which was amazing, is just like the hospitality of the venues there is something you do not get in Australia. Like, in Australia, it's like you might get 10% off a schnitty kind of thing. But in Europe, it's like
exactly.
I don't think you can ever finish the rider there. It's amazing.
No, that was a huge culture shock for me when I moved here to Berlin. Was like how venues just look after the bands. That was amazing.
Man. Just that kind of personal like hospitality is like was pretty mind blowing. So yeah, that was great. But also yeah, like the response was good, man. Like one thing that struck me about like the Euro crowds is like they're very loyal. Like I feel like if you win them over the first time around, they're always going to come back, kind of thing. So yeah, like from that, I mean that tour was like 6 years ago, but we've already got a few messages from people that come and seen us on that one that are keen to come back. So that's amazing they even remember who we are. So yeah, man, I'm looking forward to it. And like yeah, like I said before, there was a few spots that we hit that we're going to come back to this time around. So and like yeah, like last time I think we flew into Berlin, but we didn't do a show there. So I'm really keen for this one with you guys. That'll be killer.
Did you actually visit the real life Cathedral of Bones in Czech Republic?
Nah, man, it continues to elude us. I think we're not playing in Prague this time either, but I think we're driving through there, so I'm gonna have to try and make it a stop because yeah, that's like, you know, that's the whole thing. Got to check it out.
Well, Dave, this has been a pleasure talking to you. I look forward to seeing and playing with you guys here in Berlin. Before we finish up, there's one question I always ask the bands on Metal Ruse. What's a funny or embarrassing tour story that you like to share?
Oh man.
Put you on the spot.
I mean, everyone knows the Indonesian fiasco, but that's one that definitely sticks out. Kind of got like booted from the country after like 3. Did you guys tour there?
No.
We got onto that promoter because he was bringing over a few bands from Brizzy, and it was definitely like around the time that you guys were doing stuff.
That was Caustic Attack and Derain, but
that's
the singer from Malachite, my old band, he was filling in on vocals for Caustic Attack.
Yeah. I mean, like that was just such a fucking insane experience. Like, you know, we did 3 Unreal shows, and then these like customs officers like came to this gig and basically shut it down like 10 minutes before we went on. Whole venue got evacuated, like took our passports, and we just had no idea what was happening. Had to like stand outside for about an hour, and they just like thought I was never going to see my guitar again as well, because I remember that we were about to go on stage, so all our shit was like out of the cases and stuff, and I just see this guy like just fly down the main road on a bike with like my guitar on his back, and like our tour manager had like managed to sort out some like, you know, halfway house or some shit that we could put all our stuff while this got sorted. But yeah, and we just had no idea what was happening. There was no real like discussion about like visas or like what, you know, the right paperwork and stuff. But yeah, we had to like go to the immigration office and like plead our case, and it's a pretty intense experience. Like, kind of thought I was just going to walk in there and they'd just get him back and, you know, carry on. But yeah, it was pretty much all day just like having this fucking gnarly conversation in broken English to this guy, and yeah, he wasn't too keen on us staying at all. So we just had to get the next flight home pretty much. It just went from like being incredible to just like the worst thing ever. I don't know if you call that particularly embarrassing. It was fucking stressful though.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, man. Yeah, and that's the edited version, but yeah, it was like the whole thing, dude. It was hectic. I'll have to fill you in over a beer in Berlin.
Sounds good. Hopefully we won't have any of that here in Europe for you. So
nah, man, we got all the right paperwork this time.
That's good. All right, Dave, thank you very much again for your time. Yeah, all the best, and we'll see you here in Berlin in a few weeks.
Cool, man. See you there. Good on you, dude.